Mattel seems to be in the habit of launching good ideas and then abandoning them midstream to chase Hasbro's tail. I discussed this a few months ago in a video about the ultimate fallout of their Masters of the Universe Origins line, a toy range that started as affordable fun aimed at kids while still having appeal for adults with nostalgia for He-Man, but quickly pivoted to a line of premium exclusives aimed at adult collectors in a strategy that sucked all the fun out of collecting them. Their Jurassic Park Legacy collection began much the same way, before pivoting in the same confused direction.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I'm not going to say I was ever a huge Jurassic Park fan in terms of the movie franchise. I loved the original novel, I respected the first film, I really don't care about dinosaurs, and mainly fixated on the first movie because of all the safari clothing and equipment. I like the hats and jeeps and stuff like that. So when Jurassic World premiered, it didn't make a blip on my radar. It was only upon walking into a Target around that time and seeing their exclusive Legacy collection of toys based on the original film that were being sold alongside the Jurassic World figure range that I had any interest in Jurassic Park merchandise. Having been in high school when the original film came out, and not being wild about the highly stylized Kenner range of toys anyway, this Legacy collection was hitting all the right checkboxes for me. They were 3 3/4 inch scale, they were affordably priced as toys and not premium collectibles for adults, they had vehicles like the Jeep at launch, and the situation looked very promising. Mattel would expand quickly on the initially modest Legacy offering, moving from single figures to scene sets, which were still affordably priced, while ensuring the figures themselves were less of a hunt, so it was working out nicely for both kids and collectors. Even the few figures they did annoyingly make as convention exclusives, like Richard Hammond and Dennis Nedry, showed up quickly in Legacy retail versions within these scene sets and multi-packs. However, once a toy company plays with an exclusive, it's like chumming the water for corporate sharks. Rapidly, the Legacy collection lost its identity, giving way to more online exclusives and a doppelganger line being sold right alongside it called the Hammond collection, which fatally confused the entire exercise. Despite some typical toy corporation decision-making, like having the original Jeep come with a working winch, then making the scene set where the winch was used having a Jeep with the winch feature deleted, the Jurassic World Legacy collection was the only toy line that could reliably be found at retail with each successive product launch. And the range was admirably dedicated to providing those scene-specific variations, like the famous Must Go Faster T-Rex Chase Jeep.
Must go faster.
Annoyingly, though, the situation was starting to slip. This set with Ellie and the Jeep, for example, was shown outside the power station and came with a Raptor, when the Jeep and Ellie herself were from the T-Rex chase with Muldoon and Ian Malcolm.
Look out! Down!
Clearly, these sets had a mandate to always provide a dinosaur of some kind, and the T-Rex had already been used in the escape pack with the Ford Explorer and Tim, so Mattel pulled a sleight of hand. In 2021, the exclusives continued with a John Arnold diorama of the Raptor about to kill him inside the power station. The set has a display window with light and sound effects. And that was the problem. Here was an exclusive that provided a character for the Legacy collection we had not yet seen, but he was not only held behind an exclusivity purchase, so he was limited, but he was so scene-specific he's locked into a diorama, and while you can remove Arnold and the Raptor from their packaging confinement, it erases the power station environment in the doing, leaving you with a power box, Arnold, and a Raptor. What I'm saying is, Mattel created a product where there's less of an experience with the product opened than remaining sealed. These were clearly aimed at adult collectors at this point, and for Mattel, there was no turning back. In 2022, they announced the Hammond collection, which was literally the Legacy collection retooled with another $5 to $7 added to the price. The basic original characters were trotted out for another round at retail, now with extra accessories and slightly modified sculpting. In a major screw-up, Alan Grant's figure was messed up in distribution somehow, making him the rare and high-priced chase figure in the line, and Mattel did nothing to correct this issue. Well done, you corporate hacks! Ellie was the same figure, now with a pair of swappable shit-covered arms. Never in my life could I have predicted such a desperate low for a toy line. The bigger issue with the Hammond collection was the brand confusion it created alongside the Legacy collection. The Hammond collection was essentially the same line, just redesigned and pricier. One of the glaring examples of this is the Brachiosaurus. This massive beast had already been sold as part of the Legacy collection, but Mattel decided to reissue it in the Hammond collection range with more articulation. I get that the dinosaurs sell better than the rest of the stuff in Jurassic Park toy lines, but given that these monsters had one-way assembly and you're stuck with it once you've put it together, how many people who already had the first release sprang for the double dip on this one? Even this one here is the only one I've owned, and luckily, it's the Hammond version. And no, I didn't snap it together. I'm putting this thing back in the box after this video is finished. Almost the same thing occurred with the T-Rex. The Legacy Collection version was undersized, so the Hammond Collection released it again as a more posable iteration in a better scale with the rest of the figures and vehicles. However, the T-Rex had far more of a reason to get such revisions, and it was overall a smaller and more affordable double dip compared to that Brachiosaurus. Meanwhile, the Legacy Collection was releasing kitchen scene sets between Tim, Lex, and the Raptor, the aforementioned Must Go Faster Jeep set, as well as a set with Muldoon and his crew wrangling the Raptor into the security cage at the beginning of Jurassic Park. The quality of these later sets is questionable when you consider Ellie Sattler's face deterioration from her original figure to the escape set version. Around this time, Mattel Creations attempted a misguided and failed crowdfund of the main gates, with a T-Rex that happened to be from the Lost World, the other Ford Explorer with more details than its retail companion, the two kids with deco variations, and a bunch of park signs. It failed. As well it should have. And in the midst of all this madness, the Legacy Collection had attempted to expand into the Lost World, which isn't itself a bad idea. However, the most prized collectible from the original Kenner run of toys, the Mobile Command Center, was avoided entirely, comped up as a piece of cardboard packaging decoration in a rather underwhelming Stegosaurus figure set, which made all of the Lost World products feel like a non-starter. If you're never going to have the main event vehicle, why bother with this sub-theme at all? The ambition Mattel had shown in the first years of the Legacy Collection had been tamped down by Hammond Collection confusion and lost enthusiasm. That didn't stop the people at Mattel from moving more and more of their product ideas over to exclusive offerings on Mattel Creations, like the Ian Malcolm Chaos Theory figure set, which was literally Mattel making a product out of a meme. Similar to the Arnold Raptor encounter before it, this light and sound feature display piece is just that. And disassembling the packaging would be an empty exercise that would diminish the intended experience of the product. Acting more like a complex Hallmark ornament than a toy, this release really illustrates how Mattel beached itself with the Hammond Collection. This would be followed with yet another Light and Sound diorama exclusive, Dr. Henry Wu and Mr. DNA in the Incubation Lab. A small piece of this scene had been provided with the Comic-Con exclusive Hammond all the way back at the start of the line, and that accessory was not repacked in this dinky piece, with Dr. Wu surrounded by all cardstock representations. Aside from finally having a figure of Dr. Wu, if that was something anyone really felt they were lacking, it's a stupid set, and for most buyers was probably an easy pass. The final major mention for the Legacy and Hammond collections for the original film is the Mattel Creations set that was once again a Light and Sound feature diorama piece that brought us the sleazy lawyer Donald Gennaro, the T-Rex in full downpour deco, and the toilet and outhouse he attempts to hide in. The outhouse is sadly yet another cardstock mock-up, when Mattel should really provide better as one of the biggest toy companies on the planet. At the same time, you're getting the Hammond Collection T-Rex again, this time with a different paint job. So if you've already jumped at the first Hammond T-Rex, this set is gonna sting a bit. While worth it for the Gennaro figure overall, it's a steep price to pay and a frustrating one at that, since this set was limited and exclusive. Gennaro should have come in a set with the other Ford Explorer, Lex, and the Goat.
Where's the goat?
You might be wondering at this point why I'm not discussing more of the dinosaur toys in these various ranges. Well, for one, those toys are discussed in exhaustive detail on any number of Jurassic Park fan channels on YouTube. For another, the only thing that sets Jurassic Park apart from any other line of toy dinosaurs are the humans and hardware. They're the most unique aspects of Jurassic Park and create the world build. Frankly, given how insistent collectors of these lines are that the dinosaurs are what sell, I don't understand why Mattel keeps licensing the Jurassic Park name. Mattel could just sell a line of posable dinosaurs and make the same amount of money according to a lot of these fans, and without the steep brand license fee. Because really you're just buying more dinosaurs from a different company that you can pile in with all the other dinosaur toys from other companies. And with the way the dinosaurs in the Legacy Collection were given away in these sets like Tic Tacs, you'll end up with more multicolored raptors, T-Rexes, and little weird lizards than you can shake a stick at by the time you have everything in front of you. No, for me it was about the hardware. I spent some time with the Jeeps, moving the working winch to Nedry's, swapping the license tag labels, and adding the side mirrors and spare tire to the original Jeep, so all three work together better as a fleet. I need to add stripes to Nedry's, but when painting gets involved, I drag my feet for some reason. With Mattel having all but exhausted what they intended to do with the original film, with the crowdfund having failed, and with the Hammond collection moving on to the various sequels, it's sad to see yet another potentially great toy line from Mattel fall victim to just another nostalgia cash grab aimed at collectors with exclusives and limited editions. Jurassic World Rebirth might inspire new momentum for the Legacy Collection, but I'm not holding my breath. At best, we're in for a triple dip at this scale at even higher prices, with the only possible benefit being a re-release of that pricey Alan Grant.
Dr. Grant's not mission compatible.